Hi, I'm Stephanie Thorne.
Hi.
What's your name?
Dennis.
Dennis. Nice to meet you, Dennis.
You too, thank you.
Well, today we're going to go over what's called the AFLS, Assessment of Functional Living Skills Scale. I'm going to ask you quite a few questions, and some are regarding behavior, some is regarding supervision, some are talking about what you like and what you don't like.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yep, that's fine.
Do you feel comfortable, if we had anyone else coming in, part of your team, do you feel comfortable having them answer as well?
Yeah, if you think that would be helpful.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to start with self-management. We're going to start with aggression, and let me read that definition to you, okay? That's a successful or unsuccessful attempts to make inappropriate contact against another person with an arm, hand, head, leg, or any inanimate objects. It does include pinching, biting, scratching, hair pulling, kicking, and other forms. Now we're going to go over each of these forms of aggression, and I'm going to ask you if they occur. I'm going to ask you a few other leading questions, okay? Do you have any hitting?
Yes, sometimes.
Okay. Can you tell me, has it ever caused an abrasion?
What happened last time there was hitting, there was some bleeding.
Okay.
Bleeding from the eye.
Okay. And who did you hit?
My caregiver.
Your caregiver. Do you know why?
They took my stuff.
Okay. And how often does that occur? Do you think it happens yearly or monthly, or was it just that one time?
Just that one time.
Okay. When was that? Do you remember?
That was just after spring break.
Okay, so it was within 6 months, you would say?
Yeah, in March.
Okay. So, all right. Is there anything else you ever remember hitting in the past?
No, not intentionally.
Okay. Did you have an open hand or a closed hand?
It was closed.
Closed. Okay. All right. And you would say you were escalated. You were becoming upset with the caregiver.
Yeah, I told them not to take it, and they took it.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the next one. If you think of anything else regarding hitting, let me know. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Do you ever kick anyone?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do you ever bite anyone?
Yes, I have been.
Okay. Has it ever caused an abrasion?
No.
No. Okay. Has it ever caused any bruising?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Has it ever caused any swelling?
No.
Okay. When you bit down, did you bite down and keep that bite closed, or did you release it right away?
No, I kept it closed.
You kept it closed. What made you open up from that bite?
Oh, they were sort of yelling at me to do so.
Okay. How often does biting occur?
Maybe once a week.
Once a week, okay. Do you think, can you tell me situations that it occurs the most?
Just when I get frustrated or angry.
Okay. Is it towards anybody, or is it towards your caregivers, or is it towards peers, or could it be both?
A bit of both.
Oh, okay. You said when you get frustrated. What makes you frustrated that you might bite?
Like when I want something and my caregiver doesn't give it to me, or I ask my roommate to share his food with me, he doesn't want to.
Okay. When you bite, do you usually get what you want?
Usually.
Okay. Okay. What's the consequence for biting?
From staff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they tell me not to do it, but there's nothing beyond that.
Okay. So you don't have a written plan or any reinforcement system in place?
Not currently.
Okay. And Dennis, these might be some questions too, if you're okay with me asking your caregiver about for more details. Okay. When was the last time that you bit somebody?
Last week.
Okay. Okay. Now we're going to skip to the self-injurious behavior section. This is self-injurious behavior. So this is behavior that you're going to be doing to yourself, okay? Let me read this definition to you. It's any forceful contact with head or face, forceful contact with other body part, scratching, picking, rubbing, biting, eye gouging, ingestion of inedible materials, vomiting, rumination, head banging, hair pulling, and then we can talk about anything else, okay? So let's start with scratching. Do you ever scratch yourself?
No, I don't scratch.
Okay. Do you ever cut yourself intentionally?
No, I don't do
Do you ever eat inedible items?
that. What is an edible?
So something that you wouldn't necessarily be on a plate of food. Do you ever eat paper clips or paper or?
I eat paper.
You eat paper, okay. Do you eat it where you ingest it?
Yes.
Yes, okay,
I make it little tiny balls and I swallow it.
okay. When do you typically engage in that behavior?
When I have paper.
When you have paper?
Yeah,
When it's accessible?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Has it ever caused you to have to go to the doctor?
Yes.
It has? Can you tell me about that?
Well, my stomach was really sore one night and it wouldn't go away. So the caregivers took us to the hospital. Took me to the hospital, and the doctor had a look, and they had to do a stomach off because I had so much paper in there.
Okay. Did that just happen one time, Dennis, or has it happened multiple times?
It's happened multiple times.
Okay. How frequently do you have to go to the doctor for eating paper?
I'd say about every 6 months.
Okay. What is it about eating paper, or why do you think that you eat paper?
I just like chewing on something.
Okay. How often does that occur? Does it occur weekly, daily?
I do it daily.
Daily? Does it occur 1 to 9 times per day, or do you think it happens more than 10 times a day?
Probably more than 10 times.
Okay. If you had access to paper all day, would you eat paper all day, or would there be a point where you would stop eating the paper
I probably eat it all day.
all day? Okay. Where you live right now, do they have any restrictions on papers? Do they not allow you to have any paper in your room or in the home that you're living in?
Yeah, that's right. They take the paper away from me, but I go to work and I sneak it in my bag and bring it home and chew on it.
Okay. Does it help for that paper to be restricted in your home?
Well, yeah, if I don't have a work day, then I can't chew on the paper.
Would you chew anything else if paper were not available to you?
No, I don't really chew anything else.
Okay. When was the last time that you chewed on paper?
This morning.
This morning. Okay. Have you ever, let's see, do you know if this is in a treatment plan that you have, Dennis? Do you know if they are trying to help you with this particular behavior to decrease it so you don't go to the hospital?
Well, I know they take the paper away.
Okay.
They're not allowed paper in my room or in the house, really.
Okay. Do you ever do you ever bang your head?
No.
Okay. All right, so we'll go on to verbal aggression. Let's go on to the next one. And I'm going to read this definition to you. Verbal aggression is any threat of harm to others, a threat for a change of job status, or inappropriate police or guardian involvement. It's any use of profanity, racial slurs or name calling, or sexist or gender-based statements, okay? And it can be made at any level, so you could say it quietly, you could say it loudly. We're just talking about what is being said. Do you ever have verbal aggression?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Does it ever include a threat to kill others?
No.
Okay. Can you tell me about your verbal aggression? What does that sound like?
Well, I like to cuss when I get angry. Just somebody makes me angry, I start cussing.
Okay. What makes you angry that you might cuss?
Well, when I'm trying to do something and my caregiver tells me I can't.
Okay. Okay. How do you stop the verbal aggression from continuing? How do you stop using the cuss words?
I just keep going until I'm finished.
Okay. Do they let you finish, or do they try to redirect you and try to refocus you?
Yeah, they try to stop me, and that sometimes makes things worse.
Okay. When they try to stop you, what happens after that? If you said it makes it worse, what will happen?
Well, I just get more frustrated and I start yelling and screaming more.
Okay. Will that ever lead to aggression?
It might.
Okay.
Sometimes I get so angry I just want to punch somebody.
Okay. When you are yelling, is it only in your home environment or could it be in the community?
It's usually in the home.
Usually in the home? Okay. You're doing really good with all these questions. I know that they're difficult, but you're being wonderful. How often does this occur? The cussing?
Probably weekly.
Weekly? Okay. When was the last time that you had verbal aggression?
On Sunday.
Okay. So in the past week?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And I'm just making notes so that when we go through this during the review, that I can remember everything that you said, and if I have any questions, I'll come back and ask. Okay. All right. When you engage in cussing at somebody, is it ever towards peers or is it primarily towards caregivers, or could it be both?
That's both. Sometimes my roommate wants to jump in and help out, and that makes me even more angry, so I just start cussing at him.
Okay. Is it profanity, or do you ever have racial slurs?
I've had some racial slurs.
Okay. What is the best way to stop that cussing to end? Is it to leave you alone, or is it to redirect? You said redirection can make you angry. What is the best way to make that?
I just want them to leave me alone because I feel like they're making things worse by trying to interfere, and that makes me more angry.
You said when you get angry if you're trying to do something. Does it help when you're given that item?
Yes.
Okay. Next one's property destruction. I'm going to read the definition to you. Any successful or unsuccessful attempt to cause damage to items or objects with any part of your body or with an inanimate object. Okay. Have you ever engaged in property destruction?
No, but I do think about it sometimes.
Okay. What do you think about? Can you tell me?
Sometimes I think about just hitting something with my fist really hard.
What stops you from doing that?
Oh, I don't want to break my furniture.
Okay. That's good. That's great. So you can't remember a time that you may have had any property destruction?
No.
What about the use of restraint? And this is a need for a physical restraint, such as a hold, or a mechanical restraint, and that's like safety doors and objects to prevent you from harming yourself or others. Has anybody ever restrained you?
No.
Okay. And in your past, you can't remember any restraints?
Not that I can remember.
What about disruptive behavior? This is any vocalizations or noises that are above a conversation volume. Loud voice, stomping, slamming doors, loud music or TV, or making noises that could be bothersome to any. Do you ever engage in that type of behavior?
Yeah, I do that.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about that. What does that look like?
When my roommate really annoys me, spiked. I'll sit in front of the television and turn it up really loudly. We've had some of the neighbors complain about noise.
Okay. When that happens, does what happens after that? How do you come to turning the TV down or turning the TV off? Or
Usually my roommate will then call the team leader, or he'll call the homeland coach, and they'll tell me to turn it down.
okay, so somebody usually has to intervene. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah, because I don't know what he's doing, so I just want to drown him out.
Okay. How often does that occur?
My roommate's very annoying, so once a week, I would
Once
say.
a week. Okay. Does it only happen with your roommate?
Yes.
Okay. Has it happened in the past? In other situations?
No, it's just since this new roommate moved in, he's very annoying.
Okay. What does your roommate do that's so annoying?
He keeps on singing
Okay.
these dumb songs that I don't like, so I just want to drown him out.
Okay. Is it that you don't like singing, or is it just that you don't like that particular roommate singing?
I don't like that roommate singing.
Okay.
I don't like his dumb songs that he sings. And I tell him to shut up, but he just keeps singing. I mean, so what choice do I have? I have to drown him out.
Okay. So you're trying to drown him out. Okay. When was the last time that this behavior occurred?
Yesterday.
Do you think that people could hear your music from outside of your home?
Yeah, I turn the television up as loud as I can.
Okay. Do you think that they could hear it from, like, say, the parking lot or your driveway?
I don't think the TV is that loud.
Okay.
No, we've had complaints about the noise from
Okay.
neighbors.
When you receive a complaint, what happens?
Well, I have to go to a meeting with the team leader.
Okay. How many meetings have you had regarding this?
About 5.
5. And when did you move in with this particular roommate?
About 2 months ago.
Okay. So 5 meetings in 2 months, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Dennis, how are you doing? Do you need a break, or you doing okay?
No, I'm feeling good. Okay.
Okay,
Keep
good.
going. Thank you.
All right, let's talk about bolting. We're going to talk about bolting and elopement, and I want you to listen carefully to the definition. If you have questions, let me know, okay? Because they can be very similar sometimes in what people think that definition might be. The bolting is any successful or unsuccessful attempt to quickly leave the presence of others and to potentially put oneself in a harmful or dangerous situation, like dashing into traffic, running towards an unfamiliar animal, going towards a body of water or a pool. It may result in getting lost in the environment or in a crowded location. Have you ever had any bolting?
No.
Okay. Now I'm going to talk about elopement. I'm going to give you the definition. Elopement is any successful or unsuccessful attempt to leave an approved area without proper notification and/or caregiver permission. Okay.
Can you give me an example?
So say you're in a work environment and you see a friend that's over in the break room. And while you're supposed to be working, you see a friend and you say, I want to go over and talk to my friend, and you leave without your supervisor knowing.
Yeah, I do that.
You do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do that
Okay.
all the time.
Okay. Would you say it happens daily or weekly?
Yeah, when I see my friend at work, I go talk to him. It's better to talk to him than working.
Okay. Does it happen daily?
Yeah.
Do you think? Okay. Do you think it happens 1 to 9 times a day, or more than 10 times?
At least once.
At least once. Okay.
Usually during lunchtime.
Okay. During lunchtime.
Well, we have lunchtime at different times.
Okay.
So, if I don't
So
talk
when
to
you
him,
see
then
your
I'm-
friend. Okay. When was the last time that occurred?
Last time I was at work.
Okay. Was that yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. Would you respond to a caregiver saying, come back over here, or if they called you on your phone and said, where are you at? Would you respond to them?
No, I just let the phone ring
Okay.
because I'm talking to my friend.
Okay. you ever been gone for more than 30 minutes without somebody knowing?
Yes, I've done that.
Okay. Have you ever been gone for more than 120 minutes for about 2 hours?
2 hours? Yes, once.
Yes. Okay. Have they ever filed? Have police ever been involved?
No, I don't.
No. Okay. Tell me about the time that you were gone for a couple hours.
Well, my friend, he was finishing work and I was just starting, and I haven't seen him for a little bit, and
Okay.
I wanted to hang out with him, so we went to McDonald's,
Okay.
and we had such a good time. We just didn't realize that we'd been there for 2 hours.
Okay. Okay. So if HomeLink staff called you, you would just let the phone ring, or
Yeah,
you would answer it and.
No, I'd let it ring. It's not their business if I
Okay.
hang out with my friends.
Okay. Does this only occur with your friends?
Yes.
Okay. Does it occur with your family members?
No.
With caregivers?
No.
Okay. Would you leave? Do you leave your home area ever without telling the house staff?
No, I only see my friend at work.
Okay, so it's only in the work?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What's the consequence when you leave and you go talk to your friend? Is there a consequence?
My boss tells me off,
Okay.
and I said they might fire me someday. But that's okay. I don't really like that job anyway.
Okay. And how often does your boss intervene and say something to you?
Oh, when he notices.
Okay. Let me go back to this one really quick. So say, because you're looking at neighborhood network as an option for living arrangement, if the HomeLink staff calls you and they say, we need you to come back, and you know that in order to live at neighborhood network, you need to answer that phone, would you be able to answer that phone, or would you make that decision not to answer, do you think?
I think I'd answer.
You think you would answer? And why? What would make the difference between not answering and answering from neighborhood network staff calling or at work?
Well, I don't want to I don't want to get kicked out of my apartment.
Okay. So if you understand the rules of neighborhood network, that would be.
Yeah, I don't want to go back to the grouping.
All right, now I'm going to ask you 5 more questions, okay? I'm going to talk about inappropriate sexual behavior, okay? And this is any successful or unsuccessful attempt to touch others' genital areas, touch one's own genital areas while in a common or public place, such as a living room or the bus stop, or access pornographic material while in a common or public place. Does that ever occur?
No.
Any illicit substances. This is any successful or unsuccessful attempt to ingest, inhale, or inject common household substances or prescription drugs not prescribed to the individual, solicit such substances from other people, or provide substances to others.
I drink a lot of beer,
Okay.
and I take it from my neighbor has a lot of beer in his fridge, and sometimes when I notice the door's unlocked, I go in and grab a couple.
Okay. How often does that occur?
Whenever the door's unlocked.
Okay. Whenever there's opportunity, you would say? Okay. Do you think it happens weekly or monthly or daily?
Probably weekly.
Weekly. Okay. When did it happen? When was the last time that you went in?
Friday.
Friday. Okay. So it was in the past week?
Yes.
Okay. And then with going into your neighbor's home, is that the only time that you're drinking the beer, or are you purchasing beer for yourself otherwise?
No, I'm not allowed to purchase beer.
Okay. So it's just when you have the opportunity with your neighbor, is that correct? Okay. Have you ever had a complaint regarding this?
Yeah, he gets very angry when he notices the beer's gone.
Okay. Has there ever been a police involvement because of this behavior?
No.
Do you feel that you're getting intoxicated?
Sometimes I get a little buzz.
Okay. All right, we're going to go to the next question. Setting fires. Any successful or unsuccessful attempt or any threat to light items on fire outside of the context of cooking on a stove or engaging in an approved outdoor activity such as, so it wouldn't include like lighting a grill or a campfire.
No.
Okay. I'm going to go right back to, I apologize, I'm going to go back to illicit substances. If at Neighborhood Network, if your roommate had beer in the fridge, would you take his beer?
Yes.
Okay. When you go home for special occasions or when you're visiting your family, like you said before that you'd done, would you take their beer?
Yes.
Any inappropriate behavior with vulnerable populations. And let me read this definition. Any successful or unsuccessful attempt to engage in aggressive behavior or inappropriate sexual behavior towards vulnerable populations such as children or animals. Any weapon use. This is any successful or unsuccessful attempt to use an object or device such as a stick, a fork, a gun when engaging in aggressive behavior towards others.
No. I just punch.
Just punch, okay. All right. You're doing great. Those were hard questions. Any police involvement. And this is any event during which behavior has resulted in a complaint call to or the involvement with any type of emergency services.
No.
No. Any suicide attempts?